There's a Nintendo villain that never attacks you, never throws a punch, never starts a fight, never even raises her voice. And yet, she kinda controls almost everything that happens in Super Paper Mario. There's no boss battle, no dramatic final showdown, just a quiet command: obey. And that's what makes Nastasia one of the most unselling villains Nintendo has ever written. Because she doesn't defeat you with power. She defeats you by convincing others that they were never free to begin with. Quick disclaimer before we begin. Everything in this video is based off of in-game dialogue, visual storytelling, and my own interpretations based on what's provided in the game. Nintendo never truly explains Nastasia's inner thoughts, and that ambiguity is what makes her truly disturbing. Or at least, in my opinion. But as always, you can always disagree. I am very open to hear your take afterwards. So again, with that said, what you're about to hear is my own take on Nastasia. Also, the poll was close, but Nastasia eventually took the lead. Keep voting. When most people think about Super Paper Mario villains, they usually think of Count Bleck, Mr. L, Mimi. Nastasia usually gets overlooked, or at least, in my opinion, for the most part. She stands in the background. She speaks calmly. She doesn't posture or threaten. But that's the trick. Nastasia is present at almost every turning point in the game. She's the one translating Bleck's commands. She's the one that's monitoring the Chaos Heart. She's the one correcting others when they hesitate. She isn't loud. She's constant, and villains like that are always the most dangerous. Nastasia never fights Mario and company. Not once. Instead, she positions everyone else to do it for her. She gives orders. She issues commands. She ensures obedience. Even Count Bleck, the supposed main villain, relies on her to keep everything running. Bleck has power. Nastasia, however, has control. And control doesn't need violence. It just needs compliance. The word obey isn't just a command. It's Nastasia's entire worldview. She doesn't ask if someone agrees. She assumes they should. When characters hesitate, she doesn't get angry. She corrects them. because in her mind, free will is a flaw. Choice is inefficiency, and resistance is simply disobedience. That really hasn't been fixed yet. This is why she feels so calm. She doesn't see herself as cruel. She sees herself as right. Nastasia's hypnosis abilities aren't just a gameplay mechanic. They're the core of her character. She doesn't overpower minds. She reframes them. She strips them away with doubt. And she simplifies choices. She turns people into tools who believe they're doing what they want. That's far more terrifying than mind control, because it means the victim participates. They obey willingly. Count Bleck is the face of Super Paper Mario's destruction. He wants to erase the world. End everything. Bring the story to a close. And because of that, his threat is obvious. You can point to it, you can name it, you can fight it. Nastasia is different. She doesn't want the world to end. She wants it to function on her terms. That alone makes her more dangerous. Bleck's plan is fueled by grief, by loss, by emotional collapse. It's unstable. It's self-destructive, and eventually, it cracks. But Nastasia doesn't act from pain. She acts from belief. She genuinely thinks she's right, that obedience is order, that order is peace, and that individual will is a problem that needs to be corrected. Bleck questions himself. He hesitates. He wavers. Nastasia never does. She carries out the plan with calm efficiency. She enforces it when others falter. She maintains the system when Bleck emotionally withdraws. If Bleck is the storm, Nastasia is the machine. And machines don't stop on their own. What makes her especially dangerous is that she doesn't see herself as a villain. She doesn't enjoy cruelty. She doesn't gloat. She doesn't lash out. She simply believes that control is necessary. That some people must lead and that others must obey. And that mindset doesn't die when a villain is defeated. That mindset survives. It adapts. It attaches itself to a new authority, new structures, new systems. Bleck's evil ends when his heart changes. But Nastasia, however, doesn't, because her danger isn't tied to destruction. It's tied to compliance. And a villain that convinces others to obey willingly will always be more dangerous than one who forces them. Something important changes. Not in the heroes, but in Count Bleck. For the first time, he begins to hesitate. He listens. He reflects. He remembers who he was before the plan ever began. And that's when Nastasia intervenes. In one of the chapter interludes, she tells Bleck something chilling. That he still has time to turn everything back. To return to how he was before the plan. Now on the surface, that sounds compassionate, but it isn't. Nastasia isn't asking Bleck to heal. She's asking him to erase the doubt. To go back being decisive, unquestioning, absolute. Because to her, hesitation isn't growth. It's failure. Bleck was never meant to feel, he was meant to lead. And when he stops doing that, she doesn't see redemption. She sees a system breaking down. That's where their philosophies split. Completely. Bleck's plan was always emotional, born from grief and loss. Nastasia's belief is structural. She doesn't really care why the plan exists. She only cares that it's followed. So when Bleck chooses compassion over completion, Nastasia chooses completion over compassion. That's why she turns against him, not to overthrow him, but to preserve the version of him that could still command obedience. In her mind, she isn't betraying Bleck. She's correcting him. Because authority to Nastasia isn't a person. It's a function. And when that function begins to hesitate, it must be restored. Or replaced. That's what makes her final action so disturbing. She isn't driven by rage or revenge or despair. She's driven by logic. Cold, controlled, convinced that order matters more than change. And in that moment, Nastasia becomes the truest embodiment of the word obey. Nastasia never fought Mario and company because she didn't need to. She believed that resistance was temporary, that everyone could be guided, corrected, aligned. She isn't loud, she isn't flashy. She doesn't crave attention. She just wants obedience. And that's why she's one of Nintendo's most unsettling villains. Because she doesn't ask for control, she assumes it. So, what do you think? Was Nastasia truly redeemed? Or did she choose a different version of control? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. But as always, feel free to disagree as well. I'm very curious to hear your take. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please consider subscribing right now. And, while you're at it, share it with another Paper Mario or Nintendo fan as well. It generally helps out the channel and the community grow a lot. My goal for this video is to get to 2K views. And if you didn't already know, the Mimi video just became the biggest video on my channel so far. And there's a lot more like this coming. So with all that said, you do not want to miss out. You can join my Discord to talk Paper Mario theories, polls, challenge runs, share art, and more. And you can also follow me on Blue Sky as well for more updates soon. Much appreciated, and links are in the description below. And be sure to look out for another community poll for the next deep dive real soon. Because we're only just getting started.